What if I told you that the best way of losing body fat was to eat more fat? You wouldn't believe me, right?
Well, fat consumption can only make me fatter, and on top of that, it'll make my level of blood cholesterol rise, which can only put me at greater risk of cardiovascular diseases, innit?
Right, well, I need to tell you you're wrong, but before I prove it to you, let's get back to the origin of the association between fat and healthy. Let us go back in the 1940s. During that period, a very unexpected epidemic was raging in the ranks of middle-aged American men, one of heart attack. Although America was living through its most prosperous times, many American business executives, whose life conditions were considered to be of high standards, experienced an unprecedented rise in cardiovascular diseases. This very preoccupying observation caught many scientists' interests, and one of them got more public attention for it than the others. His name is Ancel Keys. The man had a PhD in physiology and had gotten a huge reputation in his domain. Keys was considered to be a pioneer in the use of statistics in biology. He had been charged with the making of the rations that soldiers took during World War II, and he was consulted by many national health agencies. Facing the heart attack problem, he formulated a hypothesis.
Now, what if our fellow citizens suffered of cardiovascular diseases because of eating fat?
Microscopic observations of veins and corpses led to the finding of cholesterol plaques in the inflammations that had caused the diseases. Now, in a pure scientific rigor, it would not have been enough to establish the causality between cholesterol and those inflammations. What if cholesterol molecules were the victims of an independent biological holdup? Now, for some reason, Keys was deeply convinced by his claim and by its potential to make him the savior of modern times, and he went to his next move. He collected data to explicitly link between various populations' consumption of saturated fats and their risk for cardiovascular diseases. Now, bad luck for our doctor. Absolutely no correlation could be observed, as you can see on the results, and his claim seemed to be more and more fragile. Instead of recognizing the obvious, Keys passed in business mode. Never mind the truth. Too much had been invested and his reputation was at stake. Firstly, he needed his results to be credible. So out of the 22 countries' cases that he used for the study, just like fruits in the bush, he picked 7 of them to make a nice and round proportional curve and fake a correlation. The official graph for the study went from this to this. Way more convincing, right? Then he used his network to get funding by national government agencies to prove his claim. And to widen his range of arguments, he even prepared something that could have been an exceptional media coup. In the shadows, he instructed Eisenhower, the US president at the time, to follow a low-fat diet. Again, he failed to demonstrate anything and the president got diabetes and several heart attacks. He then got involved in a conflict of interest with non-governmental associations and appeared on the Times first page to promote the interests of a low-fat diet. Keys' thesis successively gained a truth value in the media and in the people's minds, and it got so deep into society that to this day, faculties of medicine still present it this way. Be prudent and eat as little fat as possible. How convenient at the time that when the industry was most eager to produce cigarettes, vegetable oil, and products full of sugar, a common enemy could be pointed out to concentrate the people's attention. Later, cigarette was found to be the main origin of the heart attack epidemic, along with sugar, that is also the #1 cause of obesity. And more recently, seed oils have been found to be a major source of cancer. Now, a great number of recent studies have demonstrated that 1. Cholesterol is a false indicator of health. It is rather captured by the inflammations than the cause of it. 2. Pollution, cigarette smokes, and malfunctions related to diabetes are the main factors of risk for cardiovascular diseases. 3. Replacing fats by carbohydrates has contributed to impoverish our diets, to reduce the quality of our available energy, and to expand dramatically the risk of insulin resistance in Western populations. 4. A diet with more saturated fats and very low carbohydrates allows metabolic purification to be processed, improves the diversity of our microbiome when associated with vegetables and fibers, pushes back diabetes and cardiovascular problems, helps to control hunger and addiction, and is the most efficient diet in weight loss.
This is horseshit.
Now, before you have such comments, you should definitely check out these 2 graphs that synthesize the results of scientific experiments of weight loss, comparing different kinds of diets. For the both of them, the highlighted curve is the high-fat, low-carbohydrate one without any restriction in consumption in the day. And yeah, it is pretty dramatic. Here are some other studies graphs, this time with no comparison but with significant results. Now, I would understand if this scientific blather didn't suit you, but you can think it a different way. The significant replacement of fats by carbohydrates in our diet is no more than 10,000 years old, which is the age of agriculture, while our species has existed for the past 200,000 years. Although some populations have adapted to it, we humans remain fundamentally adapted to the consumption of fat, which we transform into valuable energy. I could also take my own case as an example. I've been basing my diet on proteins and fats for the last 8 months, and I've only gained in energy.
Well, it doesn't seem that you kept going strong that much.
So crazy. Anyway, my time of persuasion is ended. Now, in conclusion, I'd like to say that first of all, I know how hard it can be to change your diet, especially seeing how habits can be stuck deep into us, and seeing that there are so many other stakes to be considered, like the environmental one, the pollution we generate. Now, on that matter, I'd like to make a few recommendations. First of all, I would advise you not to consider this video to bring any unquestionable truth. The best way for you to be convinced of anything and to move forward would be to keep questioning your own beliefs and to keep pushing the research you make. Although before making any of this research, you should consider that behind any societal belief or any media information, a lobby could be standing. Last advice, eat eggs. They're the perfect ingredients, like seriously, they got amazing fats, amazing vitamins, they got proteins that are fully bioavailable, they're absolutely delicious, you can make any stuff with it, I'm serious. Egg is basically the best ingredient. Nothing to kill, nothing